carry that on in that way versus departing, letting this flesh go, departing, joining back with God, and having that relationship with him through the soul. That's the relationship that I have. We talked about before with the body, with that separation. We talked about the rich man when he was in hell, lifting up his eye. He could feel the torment. Your soul, it's not your flesh that feels it, it's your soul that's separated. It's the real you. The real you is your soul. That's why when people say something or act in such a way, I didn't mean to say, oh yeah, that's the real you. From the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. The real you. You know, sometimes you see a person and they were such and such a way, and now they're like this, and you say, I see the real you coming out. Yeah, their soul begins to manifest itself. They begin to strip themselves bare of that mask that they were putting on through the flesh. And now the real them begins to come out. That real emotion. We talked about that before at the very beginning of what is housed, what is contained in that soul. Your emotions, your thoughts, everything else that are housed there. So they start to manifest themselves. Well, Paul here saying, it's better for me to stay in this flesh and be with you than to depart, which is what I really want to do, to depart and to be with the Lord. See, I just give up this flesh, let them go ahead on and take my life. It's okay because I know who I'm going to be. That's right. See, that's the assurance that as saints, we have an assurance. We don't have to worry about anything. If someone were to say, I'm going to take your life because you believe in Christ, it's okay. I mean, because I know where I'm going. I should have that assurance. Now, I'm not going around tempting God. So let me jump off this bridge because I know I'm going to heaven. No, see, that's not the thing. You're not suicidal. But if I know that I'm caught, that I'm in a situation that a person is seeking my life and looking, it's okay. Because Jesus already told me, Satan can only do one thing. He can destroy the body. That's it. But God can destroy both body and soul in hell. So he can wipe the body out and turn it back to the dust and your soul. Satan can't do that. He just destroy the body. That's all the power he got. It's all the authority he has over saints. But when you're not in Christ, you're giving yourself away to this. And your soul is in jeopardy. That's you. That's the real you, your soul. And that's why we have to be careful about things that we think about, things that we say, attitudes that we have, stuff that we manifest, because that's the real you. And it puts you in jeopardy of where you're going. Because if Jesus Christ is Lord of my life and I'm born again, then I am not born of a corruptible seed, but an incorruptible seed. And that seed does not seek to do wrong. That seed does not seek to do evil. That seed does not seek to hurt someone or hamper anyone or lie to people or backbite or any of those things that's talked about in Galatians 5. That's not what a born-again person does not seek those things. They don't look for that. They don't act in that way. Because when I'm born again, I'm not seeking to do things that I used to do. That's not the way you are, not when you're born again. Your activity, your actions are now geared toward God. Your nature has changed. You've taken on the nature of God. You're back to where Adam was at the beginning. That's where Adam was at the beginning. Adam had a relationship with God. Adam didn't know what sin was. Had no sin consciousness. Had no sin consciousness. Woman was created, had no sin consciousness. None. They didn't think sin, they didn't act sin, they didn't perform sin. None. Until Satan entered in with the temptation. fell to the temptation through disobedience. Then sin entered into the world. And at that time, the conscience was aware of the difference between good and evil, which we shouldn't have been aware of, not at the beginning. God just wanted us to be aware of good and good only. But we're going back to that. We're going back through the second Adam, Christ. We're going back to that, to where in our relationship with him, that should be our thought. Whatsoever things are holy, whatsoever things are right, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. That's what I want to think about. I want to think about mess, junk, garbage. I want to think about stuff like that that'll hurt, harm, bring down, tear. No, that's not my thought. I want to go back to that mind. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. I want to go back. I want that mind. That's the mindset that I should want, so that I don't do that. Because 1 Corinthians 13 tells me if I love does no evil, does not seek her own, it's not easily provoked, it's not puffed up, does not vaunt itself. See, that's love. And if I say I love, then I can't be performing those things that cause that and say that I have love. See, because my soul is where this thing is supposed to be housed. And that's what's going to be judged. My soul, my spirit is not. Turn to Ecclesiastes. We're going to look at the death of a saint. What happens when saints die? It should be Ecclesiastes 12. Ecclesiastes 12 and 7. It says, then shall the dust return to the earth as it was. So what's the dust? Huh? Your flesh, your body, that house, that tabernacle. It's going back to the dust, going back to the earth. I guarantee you, go out there and dig up any one of those carcasses out there. Those dead people, you're not going to find any flesh on them. Went back to where it came from. From dust you were created, dust you going back to. I don't care who you are. You could be $650 billion. You still going to dust. Or you could just own the clothes you got on your back. You still going to dust. That's man. It doesn't make a difference. You're going to dust. But what does it say? And the spirit shall do what? Return to God who gave. So see, we got to understand. What is man? What are the three things we said man is made up of? what is that? Spirit, flesh, and he is a what? And he is a what? A living soul. Triune. If my flesh is going back to the dust that it was created from, and my spirit, my inner man, is going back to God. See, it can't be corrupted. My spirit cannot be corrupted. It was from God, it's going back to God. It's the very thing that gave me life. Remember back in Genesis, he created him from the dust of the earth, covered that soul with the body, with that flesh, with that clay, and then breathed into him the breath of life. And man became a living soul. See what happened? So if now he turns it in reverse, God lets us know your flesh is going back to the ground. Your spirit is going back to me. So what's happening to your soul? It is given unto man once to die. And after that, the what? Judgment. Your soul is what's being judged. That's the real you. Remember, you're a living soul. God, what did you do? The thoughts you had, the activity you... Oh, it was my... You can't blame it on the flesh. It went back to the ground. You can try and blame it on your flesh all you want to. It was not your flesh that kept you out of heaven. It's your soul, your mind, your conscience. Remember all those things we named the soul to be. That's the real you. And what you need to do is line your soul up with your spirit. That's a born-again Christian. They line their soul up with their spirit, because your spirit now is what needs to be born again. It's already in God, already of God, already from God. But it needs an opportunity to be turned on. Because from day one, we've covered the spirit with sin. We've covered it with sin from day one. From the time we were born, David said, I was born in sin and shaped in iniquity. From my mother's womb, she did conceive me in sin. Because that's the problem. Sin from day one on. And we covered our spirit. And Jesus said, we need to turn it on. That's born again. I need to turn my spirit on. Become born again. Now reconnect back to the Father and let my spirit man lead me and not my flesh. The spirit and the flesh, they war one against the other. He didn't say the spirit and the soul. Why did he say the spirit and the soul war? The soul is in the middle. He's got to make a decision. That's the real you.
I just want, I guess it's a question. I hope I can ask it right. Okay, is that why, like you see some people, they might act the way, and, they say don't judge. We can't judge, because only God knows the heart. And, because the thing, looking at what the soul is, all those things, we cannot see those things, what the soul is. So we don't know why a person reacted the way they act. So that why it says we cannot judge them. I know that Christians are to be judged, but the kind of judge I'm talking about,
condemnation.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Yeah. Now we're to judge.
Right.
I can look at your fruit. I can tell that tree by the fruit it bears.
Right.
If you say, I'm in Christ, and I'm looking at your fruit, and you lying, cheating, stealing, backbiting, heresy, that's not fruit of Christ.
Right.
I'm going to wonder about your salvation. Because I'm going to ask you, when did you give your life to Christ? Because you must not have a revelation of who he is. Because if you do, that inner man is turned on, that inner man wants to do just like he does. That inner man wants to be just like he is. And if my mind, my soul now connects with that, I'm going to produce that fruit. I'm going to start producing love, joy, peace, long-suffering, meekness, temperance, goodness, faith. See, all that's going to be a part. I'm going to start manifesting the fruit of the Spirit. Because my spirit man is now turned on, and my soul is listening to. In Romans 8, he said, they that are led by the Spirit of God are what? Are what? Come on, ladies, y'all had this already. They're the what? Children of God. If I'm led by the Spirit, I'm a child of God, because the Spirit can never lead me wrong. He cannot lead me to do wrong things. He can't. He doesn't have that. He belongs to God. He is a part of God in me. And the Spirit will never lead me to do an act or perform something that's wrong. Never. Can't. Impossible. He can't do it. The Spirit that's in me. But my flesh, surely if I line up my soul with my flesh, I'm in trouble. Because it's going to lead me to do corrupt things, to think corrupt, to act corrupt, to say corrupt, to perform corrupt, to manifest the things of the flesh. Galatians 5. The manifestations of the flesh are these. That's the adultery, the idolatry, the backbiting, the fornication, the this, the that, the heresies, all that stuff. It's because I'm listening to my flesh. But if I'm born again, I'm supposed to be listening to my spirit. And the fruit of the Spirit will manifest itself with the love, the joy, the peace, the long-suffering, the meekness, the temperance, the good. All that will be out there. So I have to look and see, what am I manifesting? If I say Jesus Christ is Lord of my life, what am I manifesting? Do you see fruit of the Spirit? Or do you see the fruit of the flesh? Because one is going to take me to heaven. One is going to take me to hell. The real me, my soul, that's the real me. And I've got a choice to make. To either think like the Spirit or to think like my flesh. It's my choice. And one could kill me. One could give me everlasting life. Which one do I choose? But if I say my spirit man is born again and I'm in Christ, that's the one I should be following. That's going to lead me to everlasting life. That's why I can say of an assurance, I know I'm going to heaven. It's not about me. It's about him. I have to die. I have to die. I don't exist. I have nothing to do. You just see this body, but I'm dead. That's what Paul talked about, being dead in Christ. Nevertheless, I live. Yet not I, but Christ lives in me. And the life that I now live, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself